have at least 14 red lipsticks, and I like none of them today. Hi everybody, and welcome to today's video. So as you can tell from the title, this video is everything that I made in the year 2021. Now, this video was supposed to come out a couple of weeks ago when it would have been, seasonally appropriate. And I had everything filmed, and I had a day carved out to do all the voiceovers, and that day I woke up with the plague and I lost my voice. But we're back, we have everything recorded, we have everything filmed, so we're finally ready to go. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. The first project that I made this year was this lovely blue polystretch satin dress. It is made out of Simplicity S8876. I have a video detailing all of the details about how I made this, and I also have a video all about the mock-up, which I will link either in a card above or in the description box below, so I won't spend too much time talking about this, but I did really like this dress. I wore it for a friend's wedding. I do also have a matching cotton mask for it, and I also wore it for my engagement photos, so I really enjoyed this dress and I'm very happy with how it came out. The next project that I worked on this year was this black jumper. It's either a black cotton twill or a black cotton denim. I didn't really pay attention to the label because it was on like super mega clearance, but I made this out of a vintage either late 1950s or early 1960s pattern that I picked up from Counted and Curated over on Etsy. For the record, this is Clotilde 3213. I really enjoy this. I have worn this so many times. You've probably seen it in some intros and outros if you've seen any of my other videos. I thoroughly enjoy this, and I am very glad that I have it. This is also the project I made that got me to start wearing brooches, which is a thing that I wear and collect now, so yay for more things for me to spend money on at antique stores. The next thing I did this year was I actually costumed a musical, and I made a video about the entire process where I show a whole bunch of the costumes that I don't have because they currently live at the theater. But one of the things that I needed to make was this dress, which is a vintage, again, late 1950s, early 1960s dress. It is Simplicity 6243. Now, this flamingo dress was kind of a wearable mock-up that I made for one of the costume pieces, and I have worn this thing so many times. I kind of refer to it as my muumuu because it's bright and tropical and so much fun, and it's also really loose and just so easy to put on. And I really like how I can either kind of dress it down and just wear it if I need to run out to the grocery store and grab something real quick, or if I want to kind of dress it up a little bit and kind of do my hair and my makeup and put a nice like white belt on it. It also kind of looks pretty nice, and I really like how this came out. This is probably my most worn project from this year, mostly because it's just so easy to toss on and walk out the door. It's definitely not the most flattering, and I am okay with that, but that bright print is just so much fun, and every time I wear it, people compliment me on how fun and bright this dress is. Also, as part of making costumes for that show, I made myself this dress, which does live with me since I used my own personal fabric when I made it. This is Vogue 7852, which is vintage from about the year 1970. Well, the top half of it is at least, so this is the top half of that pattern, and then I just kind of made a circle skirt at the bottom so that I could dance in it. And again, I talk about making this dress and a whole bunch of trials and tribulations and MacGyvering that I had to do to try to make this work in the video that I will link again either in a card up above or in the description box down below. And wouldn't you know it, I liked that black jumper so much that I just had to remake it again in white. So this is again some cotton twill, cotton denim, something or other that I got in the super sale section at Joann's. This one is cut just ever so slightly smaller than the black one. I think I graded up the black one to be about a size 20, while I cut this white jumper on a true size 18, which is how I got the pattern. I also made this matching blouse from the blouse pattern that was included. I'm not super happy with how it turned out. I don't know why I keep working with this cotton gauze. It just never quite comes out the way that I want it to. But it's super lightweight and it's nice to wear. I just wish the collar was a little bit more distinct. I think using a lighter color just would have helped with that. I tried to cut the flowers out to be, prominent on the collar, but it didn't quite work out. I haven't worn the blouse that much, but I also wear this jumper all the time. The next project that I worked on this year was this beautiful little koi dress. This is a Leroy 640. It is a vintage pattern from about the early 1960s. I picked this up from TVP store over on Etsy. I have made a video all about this dress, so again, I won't go on. This was a time to make. I think it's super cute. I really like how it turned out. I unfortunately have not worn it much because I haven't had that many opportunities to wear such a nice little sundress. But making this was a time and a half, and if you're interested in that process, I have a video all about it that I will link below.
Now, around this time, I was doing a lot of stuff off camera, and I was doing a lot of stuff that doesn't necessarily live with me. So around this time, I was asked if I could make some costumes for my local theater's production of Cry Havoc, which is a story about the nurses of Bataan, so we needed some 1940s nurse uniforms. They weren't necessarily actually accurate, but I was able to use some of my original vintage patterns. So I was anticipating the director wanting something a little bit more like this, so even though this is a 1960s pattern, it's a little bit more slimlined. It has a kick pleat in the back instead of a vent. So I made all the bodices out of this pattern, which is McCall's 6468. McCall's 6468. And if this looks familiar, this is because last year I made a blue and white dress out of this, which you can see in last year's What I Made in 2020 video. And then the director wanted a skirt with a little bit more fullness in it so that the ladies could climb around and do some movement on stage. So I went digging in my stash and I completely forgot that I had this, but I had this pattern, which is from 1941. So it's pre-war, but it's kind of that same feeling. So I made the skirts based off this pattern, which is McCall's 4118. And I had 9 dresses that I needed to make. They were in, I believe, 6 different sizes. So this was definitely an exercise in trying to get things done as quickly as possible and efficiently as possible, and fighting against my brain because I struggle with things like executive dysfunction and anxiety. So sometimes my brain just will not let me do things. And I spent some time making a giant tambour embroidery frame. So if you want to learn more about that, I will link a video in this card above because I just released a video all about how I made it. And it's been a couple weeks and I've been working with it, and I will say I am really enjoying the process, and I promise I have sped up a lot from the footage that I used in that video. The other project that I do not have with me is a cooling vest that I made for my mother to wear under her bee suit. I do also have a video about that, which I will have linked below. But that is currently with my mother in Louisiana, so I do not have that to show you all.
This past fall, I spent some time making a couple of dresses that I am absolutely enamored with. The first one that I made is this moth dress. This is a vintage Simplicity 3889. It is from the year 1960. I picked this up from The Old Leaf on Etsy, and I am absolutely in love with this dress. I made it out of this quilting cotton that had this beautiful moth print on it. I love the lace sleeves. I love how the collar turned out. I really love this dress. I think it is super cute. I love when I get to wear it. I always feel just so elegant in it. I initially made this dress with the intention of being able to wear it to work to teach paint classes, and then once I finished it, I knew I would be absolutely devastated if I spilled paint on it, so I have not had as much of an opportunity to wear this one as I would like, but I'm still super happy to have it. I do enjoy wearing it out when I can, and I'm excited to bring it out again in the spring. The other dress I made this fall was this pumpkin cat dress, which I absolutely love. This is another vintage pattern from 1958 that I picked up from Counted and Curated on Etsy. This is McCall's 4520, and I absolutely adore this dress. I think if I had to pick one favorite thing that I made this year, I think this would be it. I have worn it so many times. I think that the pumpkins and the cat on it are super, super cute. I love wearing it out. I wore it all through the fall. I wore it to teach classes. Luckily, I didn't get too much paint on it. I think there are a couple splatters on there. I love wearing it out, just grocery shopping. I absolutely adore how this came out. I think it's so fun to wear. I could not be happier with this dress. The final project that I worked on this year was this Poinsettia Jumper. I made this from McCall's 7184, which is a relatively modern reprint of a vintage pattern from 1958. I did make a video a couple of years ago kind of vlogging the process of making this jumper pattern. Looking back on it, I'm not super proud of it, mostly because I made it before I understood things like cutting things out on the grain line and not cutting things out on the bias in every which way. So I did a much better job this time around. I made sure that I was cutting either on the straight grain or the cross grain, and this is made out of a quilting cotton with some really loud poinsettias on it. Again, I just wanted something kind of silly and kind of campy that I would be able to wear to work and not really be too brokenhearted if I accidentally spilled some paint on it, which there are a couple little paint splatters here and there. You really can't tell because this pattern is just so busy and there's so much going on, but I really love this. I think it came out really well. It's super fun to twirl in, and I loved getting to wear it to work and getting to wear it this holiday season.
And that concludes everything that I made in the year 2021. I remember being really nervous to shoot this video because I really didn't think that I made that much, but I tried on and I modeled 9 separate pieces for you all. 10, I forgot about that black blouse. And if you want a very early sneak peek into what I made in 2022, I have this video, which is going to be going up next week. I have a couple of really big plans for 2022, but I'm going to be honest, I don't know how many I'm actually going to get to because I feel incredibly guilty whenever I'm working on something that is not my wedding dress, because I am already about 16 weeks behind where I want to be by now. So I really need to sit down and get some work done on that. I was also balancing a couple of different jobs in 2021, which I did not have in 2020. So I had less time to work on things than I did in previous years. So I am filming the process of making my wedding dress. I obviously cannot show you most of it until after my wedding. There's a lot of work that I am doing. There are a lot of different moving parts to it. So there's going to be a lot of footage. So something that would actually help me out is if you could leave in the comments below, let me know if you would prefer one really long, hour-and-a-half to 2-hour long video just detailing the entire process from start to finish, or if you would prefer a couple of smaller 20 to 30 minute videos that kind of focus on just smaller chunks of it. But anyway, I just want to say thank you so much for all of the love and support that you guys have been giving me over the past couple of years. It's always a really nice surprise when I get a notification about a comment or a new subscriber, especially when I really haven't been posting that much in the past couple of months. And I think that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So thanks for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. I did talk a lot about these projects over on my Instagram, which is at threadandneedlefish. So I talked a lot about some of these projects. I was going through the process. I also have a lot of story highlights where you can go back and actually watch the story and some of the stuff that I was going through as I was going through it when I was making some of these projects. But anyway, here's to 2022, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
I'm wearing a cat dress. I will just share my pictures more and a few of my points really quickly so we're on the same page of kind of what we're looking for, because I'm going to be really listening to your guys' advice. So
Just real quick. I got my kitty cat dress on. You don't care at all. Thank you for your appearance. I'll pay you your appearance fee later.